Welcome everybody. This is Mom Knows Best, but Mom Needs Rest, gentle yoga. So cheers to all the moms and come on down to your back with me on your mat. Oh, one thing is I do want you to have a yoga blanket or a blanket of some sort or a towel. Any of those things will work. And if you have a light foam block, that'll work, or a pillow to hold, or you can actually have a pretend block so you don't actually need it, but it's there if you want it. So grab those things if you like and ease on down to the mat. Hug your knees in, rock a little side to side here, and really feel for the tension that is being released as you just have the pressure of the floor against the back. And then move your knees into your hands and start to just circle around. So sensing, again, for what's touching the floor around the sacrum and the low back and the hips, reverse that rotation. And let's just glide our breath in and out through this. So sometimes when we've been momming it real hard, sometimes the only time we lay down is at the end of the day when we're exhausted. So it's kind of nice to be on the floor when it's not just sleep time. And if you fall asleep during this video, like, more power to you, mom. Go take your nap. Bring the soles of the feet to the floor. One hand to the heart and one hand to the belly. If there's a different arm placement you like, do that. And just find your breathing. So giving some movement into the lungs and some awareness to that movement. And letting your breath be bigger maybe than it has been for much of your day. And letting the exhale be full. If you need to take some sighs out, take some sighs out. And imagine that all of the muscle from the jaw to the neck to the shoulders to the space surrounding the heart on your exhales is releasing and relaxing down. And set your intention for this practice. So we're going to stay really low to the ground. We're going to keep this more easeful as you've earned it. But whatever it is that you need emotionally, mentally, physically, set an intention to be open towards exactly what it is that you need. And then from here, slide your legs long in front of you, reach your arms back behind you, grab a wrist, and just take a little side to side lateral movement. Let's get more lengthened in the spine, lengthen through the side body. Press now evenly through the heels and the arms, and then point through the toes, open the front of the ankles and the shins, and then reverse opening the calves and the hamstrings, and then float the arms down, soles of the feet come back in. Press gently down into the floor with your feet. Feet are about knees or hips distance apart. Lift your heart and scoot your shoulder blades a little underneath. And then we're going to do this in tiny, tiny movements, so stay small with me. Press into the feet and lift your pelvis an inch off the floor. Just breathe there. A little bit of engagement, a little bit of wakefulness through the hips, the back, and the legs. And then if that feels great, stay there. If you want to come up 2 inches or 3, you're just going to go to the space where you feel right, and then you're not going to go to end range of movement. And take an inhale here, and exhale, come about 1 inch down. Inhale there, and very slowly come the rest of the way down. Hug the knees in. If you want to lift your head and chest, lift up. Unfurl soles of the feet down. Scooch the shoulder blades underneath. Lift up maybe a little bit more. Breathing here. This time lifting the heels, opening the front of the ankles, engaging the calves a little bit. And then from here, elongate your low back. So it's a little different than the last one, and that will engage the hips and the glutes differently. Inhale, exhale, lower down 1/2 inch, and then all the way down, lower the heels, hug the knees in, lift if you want. And then slowly lower down, extend both legs in front of you. Again, take a full body stretch, wiggle and open. And sigh out, arms come down, soles of the feet to the floor. Hug the knees in, extend the legs up, press through the heels, then press through the toes, back and forth, just getting some length here. If the legs are more up here or knees bent, that's fine too. And then we'll keep the right knee in and extend the left leg onto the floor. So this is putting pressure into the ascending colon, which is good for elimination. And then we're going to circle that around. Speaking of elimination, elimination is what I'm saying. When you are a parent, sometimes isn't the bathroom that's the safe place. Although sometimes not even the bathroom. And then come back in. It's like, Mom, where are you? Hug both knees in. We'll switch sides. Left knee in, extend the right leg. Descending colon gets a little pressure here. Hip opens. And then some circling around. Just letting that hip move gently in its own space. Ball and socket joint. Go in the other direction. Really sweet and easy with these hips. And then pause, both knees in, extend the legs, point, flex, point, and flex. Bend the knees in, maybe lift. You don't have to lift on these, you can stay down and lower down. Soles of the feet to the floor, then walk the legs forward, straighten it out and lengthen. So we're just kind of going through these opening front body, back body, and then lengthening it all and a little lateral. Bring the soles of the feet back down. We'll come into a twist. So you can choose whichever twist works for you on your back. I'm going to choose one with that theme of what we were doing before. Right knee comes in, left leg extends, and then I'm going to cross my knee over the midline to the earth, onto the floor, maybe onto a block or a bolster, and unfurl my right arm. Now, the right arm doesn't have to be straight, and it can be bent, it can be reaching, whatever feels good. Shoulder doesn't have to be on the floor. Deep breath in and exhale. One more deep breath comes in and let it go. Draw back through the midline. Hug the knees in. Point the toes, maybe lift. Lower down, soles of the feet to the floor. Left knee in, right leg extends. And then we'll cross the midline for our twist, taking the opposite arm, again, however that feels good for the pectorals, pec major, pec minor, to get a stretch here, low back, hips, and sacrum. Deep breath in, release, and again, letting it go. Drawing back through the midline. Knees come in, and this time circle around. So we're trying to do some stuff really gentle to open the body and also help with any digestive stuff going on, any stress. Just getting to as many things as we can really gently today. Open the knees wide. And then here's where you can make a choice. You can stay here, open the knees as wide as feels right to you, or you can even press the knees forward and open. So wherever your tension is, I want that to be what guides you into your choices. And then stay here, or you can move into happy baby pose. So we're early in the practice, so you might just grab the outer shins rather than the outer feet, and you can rock a little side here. This is like a little ode to all the babies you've made and raised and are raising. Even if they're old, even if they're adults at this point, you're still raised them and you're still raising them. Hug your knees in. Soles of the feet to the floor. Reach your arms back and take a full inhale and sigh out. Bend your elbows out to the side. Inhale. Sigh. Inhale. Exhale, slowly rotate the forearms. They're not going to touch down, but forearms forward. So we're working the shoulders. Inhale, open, elbows are staying bent, hands back. Exhale, hands any amount forward, inward rotation. One more time. Inhale. and exhale. So this is good if you're holding babies or picking up kids. And reach, and then rise on up and grab that blanket or towel if you have one. You can pause here and go get one. You're gonna take a roll onto this, whatever you've grabbed, and that's going to go 3/4 of the way up to the top of your mat. So the size of the roll is going to be different for us. If you don't have a lot of flexibility in the shoulders or the spine, don't do a very high roll, okay? And then from here, we'll lay over this blanket or towel is going to correspond with the base of the shoulder blades. I'm actually going to scoot down a little bit here. And then lay back over that, reach your arms long. So you're testing this and you're gonna feel for if this feels like it's too much. If you felt like, ooh, that's too much of a stretch, then just unravel a portion of the roll out, right, like so, and then you won't be on such a high roll, okay? And then take a full stretch like you were doing, press through the heels, press through the toes, reach through the arms. You can grab opposite wrist or hands, and then we'll reach the arms, hands apart. Inhale, exhale. Bend the elbows. Inhale, exhale. Inhale here, exhale, rotate any amount down. Breathe here, and then inhale it back. Reach back, and then bring the hands to the belly. So we're in a thoracic back bend, right? That's where we're kind of giving more focus to it. And for this next movement, you could either use a block or a pillow or just a pretend block. So you're going to take that block in between your hands, the longest distance apart, and reach that block away. So again, if you're used to holding kids or wrangling them, or holding your heavy groceries or whatever it is, this is really good for opening. So inhale here and exhale. Take the block up and over towards the hips. Inhale, reach it up, and exhale back. Inhale up, exhale forward. Inhale up, and exhale back. Now press the block way away from you. Press your heels way away from you. Inhale and sigh out. Good. And then you can put your block away and very carefully come all the way off of that roll. And we're going to keep that blanket handy for our hip opening. So transfer it to any part of your mat where you're gonna face. So I'm gonna go about 3/4 of the way up here. And we're gonna come on up, and before we do the work for the hips, we're gonna reverse. So we were just in that back bend. We're gonna reverse and round. So you can interlace your fingers here or use a strap or just hands to the knees and round. Choose what feels good, and then just shimmy and open through that spine, through those shoulders. Draw the organs towards the spine. And then reach up and float your arms down from here. And if you want to use blocks for our lunge, you can always grab a couple of blocks or books or whatever you have handy. So we're going to be in high kneeling, and step your right foot forward and fingertips come down to the floor. Here's where they might come down to blocks or something else. And just start to take the hips a little forward and back until you feel that there's a comfortable spot for you where the pelvis is a bit more forward and this is a little bit more focused on the back hip flexors and you're not collapsed in the lumbar. And then recognize what's touching the ground and let there be a little more life and a little more root there. Stay here if this is plenty for you, or you can feel free to rise up to that front thigh. Breathing. Find the structure as well as the stretch. If it feels great for you to integrate that back bending stuff that we put in earlier, then feel free to reach the arms up. You could even come to cactus arms or reach back. So find, again, you decide, find what feels good for you, mom. Breathing. And then taking the hands down, shifting back into half Hanumanasana. So spreading those front toes, elongate the right waistline and breathe. So spread your breath around your body. Don't let it get stuck in one spot. And see if you can let your thoughts be a little more broad too, so you're not just focused on one spot there, especially in your hamstrings. Like that one spot might be, my hamstrings are really tight. Yeah, broaden it out to your breath, broaden it out to intention. And then from here, slowly shift back to the knees. Separate the knees if that feels okay, toes together. Take it back for a child's pose. So if you'd rather have your knees together, that's fine too. And arm position is also up to you. Breathing here and putting down anything that feels heavier as far as your thinking goes, as far as your emotional state goes. And then rising up to all fours. And then up to high kneeling, and step the opposite foot forward. Fingertips come down to those blocks of the floor. Do a little shifting around, a little easing and adapting into the shape. And then once you've found that, root the floor. So back foot, play with it. If the top of the foot down feels good, stay there. If the toes tucked feels better, stay down, stay there. If your kneecap, if the patella slides around a lot or gets kind of into the wrong spot, tuck your toes. That'll help stabilize it by engaging the shin. And then maybe come up. And then just test it out. Maybe the arms reach, maybe they cactus, maybe they come back. The only thing that's not a maybe is the breath and the safety of the posture. So if you need to come back down, come back down. Easing through. Hands come down, shift back into that half Hanumanasana, that half split stretch. I'm not gonna put you in full splits today. What a horrendous thing that would be. It's like, yep, and here we go. We're just gonna plop into the splits. All right, spread your toes, elongate through the waistline, drag. If it kind of, you come off to the side with that hip, draw it back. And then from here, very carefully shifting back, child's pose. Now, I'm gonna give you the option if you wanna go to a downward facing dog. That's one of my favorite poses, but it doesn't agree with everybody. So if you don't wanna come to a downward dog, stay in your favorite child's pose. If you wanna come for downward dog, come join me here and maybe pedal it out and ease into the length of the back body without forcing. Deep breath in, let it go. Soften the neck. So all of that tension, any of the worry that you have about your kiddos, we all have it, you're human. Let the neck hang down. Release that now. And then lower down to your knees. Shift back into a lengthening child's pose. And then we'll rise on up. We're gonna come back into a heart opener and opening the pecs a little bit more with that slight back bend aspect. So if you want to put a blanket under your knees for that, go ahead and do that. You're just fine where you are. I'm just shifting here so you can see a little bit more. Knees are wide, toes together. So you can do this with or without blocks. It's totally fine to do it just fingertips to the floor. If you're using blocks, you'll separate them wide enough that if you're here and your fingertips are on the floor, your elbows are directly over the wrists. So that's the same positioning even if you're not using the blocks. The blocks just allow you to go a little bit more into the back bend because the hands are higher up and the heart can go lower down. From here, inhale. Exhale, start to draw the chest down. Shoulder blades are going to roll not just on your back, but on your back and back. So you're even gonna move your elbows a little further back instead of just straight up. Breathing here. And then for me to open up the chest and the heart and the pectorals, I'd like to slide a little from one side to the other. And you might notice that one side feels tighter than the other, and that might be the side where you do a little bit more work, or maybe it's your dominant arm, or maybe it's just that way for who knows why. And then come to center, draw down, elbows draw back a little bit more. Inhale. And we're going to reverse this by exhaling, pressing into the blocks or the floor, rounding, round, round, round. Drape your head, open the area between the shoulder blades, and then reversing. Inhale, draw the heart down. Exhale, round the spine. Inhale, heart down. Exhale, round. And we'll do just one more. Inhale, heart leads. Exhale, back of the heart leads as you round drape the head. Full breath in here. Full exhale here. And then slide the hands onto the thighs. Come up to seated. Draw your knees together. If sitting in this Virasana pose on the knees is too much, take one of your blocks or your blanket even and add height underneath your sitting bones and separate your heels apart. And you can make whatever height underneath you feels good. So in your hero pose, sit up nice and tall without that back bend aspect. So it's sometimes hard when we've just been back bending not to keep back bending. So soften that out. Buoyant heart, head over shoulders, over pelvis, and just breathe here. And then we'll come into opening the front of the hips a little bit. Stay as you are, and I'll just show you from the side. Shins are down. We're opening the front of the ankles here. And then again, you could be sitting on your heels or on the block. Fingertips come down, thumbs towards the spine, fingertips away. Roll your shoulder blades onto your back. Now don't jut the chin forward, so keep the neck really neutral and looking forward. Roll the shoulder blades onto your back, then lift the heart expansive through the chest and breathe here. And then from here, if it feels great and you want to lift the pelvis up, you can lift the pelvis up. So this is very modified camel pose. If this is too much, then just stay seated and open your heart. And slowly lower the hips down, rise up, and shake it out in the arms. Roll the wrists a few times, and then we're gonna come into something really, really juicy for the forearms and the wrists, so the top and the underside of the forearms. So I'll face you for that. Moms, oh my gosh, moms, we are picking up those kids and we are picking up their toys and their clutter, and I have a 12-year-old now, so I'm picking up, shoes. Anyhow, our forearms from lifting stuff and carrying whatever we're carrying can get pretty tight. So it's good to give them a little spaciousness. So just come to any seat or even high kneeling where when you hang your arms down, your fingertips don't touch the ground. So just make sure your fingers aren't touching the ground. And then from here, make a soft fist. So not a like, I'm gonna get you, but a soft fist. And then take your knuckles and roll them actively towards the underside of your forearms. Ooh, you might start to feel something across the top of the hands and the top of the forearms. And then we're gonna roll that back and out and forward and out. Back and out, whew, and forward and out, yeah. And opening that forearm, and then shake that out. Yeah, great. Now take one hand, turn the fingertips down, and then with your other hand, slide the fingertips back towards you, or actually the fingers, not just the fingertips. Breathe here. If you can't get your thumb, do that one at a time. Kind of bring your thumb back. Ooh, that's a good stretch. And then make sure you don't have any overworking at the neck. And shake that out. And then the other side, palm down, draw the fingers back, breathing evenly. Take the thumb back. And we'll release that out. Okay, if you're on a block, remove that. If you want to add a blanket underneath your sitting bones, you can add a blanket for height. We're going to come to a cross-legged position. And I'm gonna ask that you put the knot, so just go ahead and come into your position. And then I will upset you for a moment. So whichever position you chose, I want you to uncross and recross your legs the other way. And I'm in this with you. So I'm feeling already a little cranky that I have to have this other leg forward because it's not my dominant or more open hip. But we're doing it to spend a little more time on this side because this is probably your tighter side and we want to balance eventually. So we want to give a little more time and space here. Lean a little bit forward. Inhale. And exhale, maybe you lean a little bit more. Inhale is the lengthening, exhale, coming down any amount. Inhale to lengthen, exhale any amount down. So if you're just sitting up tall and that's enough stretch, then that's perfect. If you're not feeling enough stretch, you might have to really make a triangle in the space here, or you might have to put the leg that's on front actually on top, okay? So you wanna find the correct amount of stretch for you in the hips and in the spine where you can still breathe really easily and you're not gritting your teeth. So that's not why we're here, all right? We have enough moments of gritting our teeth, at least I do. Thank God for yoga. Deep breath in and sigh it out. And then option for twisting here. One hand down, open, expanse, and back. Other hand down and twist. Rolling the shoulders back and exhale for the final fold here and inhale, come all the way up. All right, bring the legs forward, shake them out, and now you're welcome. You get to put your legs in the way you wanted to. So if you already know you have looser hips and you need to go wide, further away or stack, go ahead and do that. Inhale, exhale. So this is the wave. Inhale and exhale. So let there be less expectation and more releasing and acceptance. Just paint your hips with your breath. In the same way that you lovingly nurture and take care of your child or children, may we learn to take care of our bodies and ourselves with that same sweetness and that same deep, deep care and concern. Inhale, come a little bit up, and then you'll choose how far you want to lean forward for your twist if you're taking the twist. One hand down, open it up. Use your breath. Exhale, unwind back. Inhale, open. Breathing here. And back down. Inhale, come all the way back up. Bring the legs forward. Shake them out. Take that blanket and roll it, or towel and roll it. This is going to slide underneath your knees, and you don't need this at all unless this feels good. If you have a bolster, you can do that. I like to put it slightly behind my knees so it's a little bit more to the back of the thigh than just the knee, and we'll come on down. Hopefully, you feel a little bit more open and a little bit more relaxed. Sometimes we celebrate the go, go, go and the doing and the stress. And it's worth mentioning that you are going and you are doing and you are stressed. That's real. But it's also wonderful when we can recognize that we can celebrate that we gave ourselves some space and some ease and some time to recuperate so that we can go back into our lives and into our roles as parents a little bit more easily and with hopefully a little bit less tension. So rest here as long as you possibly can. I hope you get some Z's and I hope that you join me again. Thank you so much for all you do, for who you are, and for all of the care that you give to the next generation of folks. Have a beautiful day, and if this is Mother's Day, have a fantastic Mother's Day. You deserve it. Namaste.